So I thought I would go ahead and do a part 1 of what happened to me in February of this year. And while I do that, I'm eating breakfast. I've been hyper fixated on banana bread, so I've been doing nothing but making banana bread the last couple weeks. So mental health update, not doing great. I'll be honest, it's been hard, just trying to fight my mind. So I went to therapy this last Monday, and it was good, and she was really kind and gave me good advice. But as people with anxiety and depression know, people can tell you all day till they're blue in the face on what to do. But unfortunately, it just takes time and, your mentality, really. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Had a few panic attacks this week. Yeah, just the usual. So anyway, I was diagnosed with PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, in 2015. I've had different forms of birth control between then and now. I first got my period at 10, which is really young. It's always been irregular since then. And I want to say it was junior year of high school, I had my first large cyst on my ovary where it sent me to the emergency room. They thought it was my appendix. Nope, wasn't my appendix. So from that point forward, I was on birth control. So fast forward to 2022, I decided to see a new gynecologist here in Columbus. She was highly recommended by multiple people. And I looked her up on the internet and was, again, highly recommended. So I went to her. Her bedside manner was not the greatest. And obviously, as everyone who's gotten a pap smear knows, they're not comfortable. However, this was the most painful one I've ever had in my life. So her solution was to lose weight, lay off the sweets, soda, sweet tea, junk food. I don't drink sweet tea. I rarely drink soda. Sweets and junk food, I will eat, but they're well proportioned. I'm not like constantly, that's just what I'm eating. And she threw metformin at me, and that was it. Well, I had an ultrasound done and some lab work, so she wanted to just get my base levels. Well, when I went back to her, I was in a lot of pain and asked her about possibly having endometriosis or fibroids. And she said that they would have seen it on the ultrasound, that everything was normal, that the pain I was feeling was fine and normal. And I just knew in the back of my head, something's not right. I took it upon myself to tell my primary care doctor what happened and that something's wrong. That I know something's wrong. It is a gut feeling. Something's not right. So she decided to do an internal ultrasound. I found a uterine fibroid. They did tell me that fibroids can be missed on ultrasounds, and you can't tell or diagnose endometriosis on ultrasounds. You have to have surgery to do it. That's how they diagnose and stage your endometriosis. So I ended up getting with a brand new doctor, brand new practice. And this had been 2023 because I had to wait a year for my PAP. So I was talking to her and explained everything that had been going on. And she automatically was like, okay. She automatically said, okay, I'm going to refer you to a doctor here that does surgery because I no longer perform surgery. So I was like, okay, cool. And she asked my preference, if it was a male or female. And I told her, I was like, I prefer a female, but I trust you completely because I did. She was the first, other than my primary care doctor, to really listen and like take me seriously on what I was feeling. So I was like, whoever you recommend. So she recommended me to one of the female doctors at the practice. And when I saw her, it was an immediate like click. And in my opinion, your doctors that you're seeing, you know, no matter who it is, I think that's important that you have a good relationship and that you trust your doctor. Because at the end of the day, they have to do what's best for their patients. And some doctors tend to just shove things under the rug and not take you seriously on what you're thinking and saying and feeling. So she sat me down and told me two options. One was to go in, do exploratory laparoscopic surgery, see what she could do. If it was endometriosis, you know, remove as much as she could. That could be causing the pain. The downside to that is she could go in there and not find anything, and then I would still be in that pain and not know why. The other option was a hysterectomy. And this option was on the table because I brought it up when I was first diagnosed with fibroids. It was something I thought about as a possibility. The way my brain works, I have to think of every circumstance that could happen, good or bad. That's just how my brain works. I don't like it. It sucks, but it is what it is. So that was a possibility in my mind. So at that point, we didn't know what was causing the pain. And so she was more leaning towards doing the exploratory surgery first. You know, I'm younger. She'd rather not take everything out if she could help it. And I agreed. So we went ahead and scheduled the surgery for November of 2023. She went in, and this was the first time I was put under. I did the surgery, and unfortunately, she said I had a lot of adhesions, but they were so dense she couldn't do anything. She couldn't take them off to send them off to pathology to see if it was endometriosis. She said it was so, everything was so stuck together on my bowels, my bladder, like everything. So she couldn't diagnose me with endometriosis, but she also found a fibroid on top of my uterus on the outside. So she said, when I went back for my 2-week post-op, she's like, you know, I truly believe that this is what's causing your pain. And just for reference, the type of pain that I was in was incredibly unbearable. I had never, obviously, given birth. I don't have kids. Never been in labor. But I was told that the pain with uterine fibroids can be compared to Braxton Hicks contractions. So I was calling out of work 1 to 2 times a week. I would go in. I would have to leave because I couldn't focus. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, it was insane how painful it was. And I was living off of muscle relaxers because Tylenol and ibuprofen didn't do anything. After the surgery, the pain got 10 times worse. And I don't know if it's because they went in there and kind of poked around. I'm not sure why it got worse, but it did. So towards the end of December, it was right before Christmas, I saw her. I was in so much pain that I was crying on the table, and she came in and she just looked at me and she was like, "You're ready, you're done." And I said, "Yeah." Automatically knew that I wanted to get this hysterectomy because she told me that this was going to be what stopped the pain. She said there's a small chance that we do this and it doesn't, but I really am very convinced that the fibroids are what the problem is. And so I was like, go ahead, green light, let's schedule it. So obviously, because it was literally right before Christmas, I had to wait until probably like it was the beginning of January. And I kept calling and bugging her, and I feel bad for doing that, but she was so sweet. She's the one that scheduled my last surgery. So I knew her pretty well, and she knew me as well. So I finally got a hold of her, and we got this thing scheduled for February 2024. I was scared, and, I was upset because of having to make that decision of getting a total hysterectomy. At my age and not having kids, it was hard. It wasn't something that I just last minute was like, "Oh, yep, let's go ahead and do that." I want to be a mom, so making that decision was difficult. But at the same time, I know that I'm meant to be a mom, and there are many ways to do that. So I go in, get my hysterectomy done. The recovery time, obviously, as everybody knows, it depends on how the surgery goes, how they do it, and the person. So there's different ways that they can do it. The most common is laparoscopic, which again is just the little incisions. So they basically went through the incisions that they had used already, and then I think they did 2 more. So I have a few scars on my stomach, which is fine. And so, yeah, they went in, did that, took everything except for one ovary, which is my right. So I was not sent into menopause, thankfully. So it's all gone, and immediately, obviously there was like the pain from surgery, but immediately the pain was gone. I was trying to get through the first 2 weeks because of the healing process, and they took everything, so my cervix as well. They had to basically do what's called a vaginal cuff. So where your cervix is, when they take it out, they basically stitch it so that everything stays inside, your bladder, all that stuff. And I didn't know that that's how that worked. I figured it was something like that, but I didn't know. And I thought that was kind of a dumb question, but when I asked her, she was like, "That's a good question. A lot of people don't know that." I'm like, "Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know that that was a thing." So those of you who didn't know, now you know. My first post-op was 2 weeks, and then I did a 6-week. And she said, it says so much how much pain you were in that after a major surgery, because even though it was laparoscopic, it's still a major surgery. You're having organs taken out of you. That you felt better after that surgery. And I was like, yeah. And yeah, I continued to heal. Thankfully, at the 6-week mark, everything was healing good. I got cleared to resume regular activity. She wanted me to just take it easy and just kind of slowly go back to normal, because I was still dealing with gas pain, which I didn't realize could take so long. I thought like a week or two and it was gone. Nope, apparently it's not. It can take a long time. So I was still dealing with that. Other than that, I had no pain. And I'm still incredibly grateful to this day. Having that surgery saved my life. And I mean that literally, because my quality of life was nothing. I don't know where I would be at the moment if I was still dealing with that pain. Sorry, my phone died. So yeah, that was my February part 1. I had a major surgery, saved my life. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I will be posting a part 2, which is regarding my job through all of this. So yeah, look for that next week. And for anybody who worked with me, I'm not going to put any names out there, personal information, so don't freak out. You know, I don't have this vendetta against anybody. At this point, it doesn't matter. So yeah, and I appreciate you guys listening. Please make sure to subscribe, follow along, like the video, share with everybody. You know, I want to help as many people as I can. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.